wheel. We are back here, Math 40, 5.2, page 2. And I just wanted to go over a few things. I took time out to make a vampire puppet, which I think is helping me a lot right now. Look at that cool shadow. This is totally Bram Stoker right now. Remember that point when the vampire was over here and the shadow was over here? Look at me. I could totally be that director whose name I can't remember. Okay, back over here. So let's talk about regular people versus vampires. Now, I know you're all going to say, I have never heard about this in a math class. Why did I miss out? And the answer is because your other teachers weren't just as awesome as I am. I don't know. They had other ways to explain it, which is fine for them. But this is the way I do it, and involves a lot of glitter, which is really, I think, always going to be your best choice. So let's talk about regular people. Regular people walking down the street, they get squared. It just means there are two of them multiplied together. 3 squared is 3 times 3. That's 9. Now, you can write 3 squared as a fraction because now we have negative exponents. A negative exponent means that's not where you want to live. Do regular people want to live downstairs in the cold, dark, musty basement? No, not usually. I'm not saying either that everyone who wants to live in a basement is a vampire, but I will say there are a lot of vampires in San Francisco. If no one has ever mentioned that to you, it's important information. So a regular person is generally happy upstairs, unhappy downstairs. So when we try to write, when we take the 3 squared and try to write it as a fraction like this, is 1 over, we've got a negative exponent. Now let's come over here to vampire people. Vampire people are happy downstairs. 1 over 3 squared is 1 over 3 times 3. In the denominator, 1 over 9. Happy to be down in the basement. It's cold, it's dark, it's musty, it's gothy. This is a very happy, happy vampire guy. Yay! Yay! Okay, but let's look over here. What happens when we bring him up into the sunshine? Well, then he gets all sparkly and turns to dust. That's not good for anyone. So he's actually sad when he's upstairs. When you have 3 and you try to use an exponent, it's -2 because he's sad. If you put him back downstairs, happy. So if you've got someone who started down in the downstairs, then they'll be unhappy if you bring them upstairs. If you have someone starting up in the upstairs, they'll be unhappy downstairs. We can go back and forth. That's the great thing about these exponents. So let's practice this, eh? If I can separate this piece of paper, a few technical difficulties. Let's look at these. So let's play with some of these ideas with our vampire, because again, glitter and shadows. Ooh, spooky shadows. Glitter and shadows are everything. Okay, so first off, we're going to review 3 to the 0th power. You know what 3 to the 0th power is. Anything to the 0th power except for 0 is what? You got it. It's 1. So 5 to the 0th, 1. 248,003 to the 0th power is what? See what I'm doing here? Okay. Next up, 2 times t squared. Now, this is a weird problem. Basically, I'm just saying, what is 2 times t times t? And you're going to say, 2 times t squared. It's already simplified. Which sometimes we're going to give you problems, or you're going to find a problem. It's already simplified. You just say that's already simplified. Cannot be simplified further. That's all you have to do. What if I put the squared outside parentheses? Now this gets a little more interesting. This is a review from the first section. But basically that means I've got 2t times 2t. Take a look at the difference between this and what's above it. 2 times t times t. The big difference is in the top one, there's only 1 2. In the bottom one, the 2's get squared too. Why is this? Well, exponents only affect whatever they're touching. So since the 2 was just touching the t, that's the only thing that gets squared. Down here, the 2 was touching parentheses, and so everything in the parentheses gets squared. So it's 2t times 2t. So we've got, I really need to say tutti frutti. Thank you. Okay. I've got 4t squared. I have 2 2's and 2 t's. Okay, I'm going to try not to say tutti frutti anymore, but it's going to be hard. I already had some fun with glitter and glue today, so I think all bets are off as to whether or not I'm going to be able to maintain any sort of professional anything, which is probably best for everyone. I don't want you to get your expectations up, just disappoint you. Okay. Also can't be straight today. Not a surprise. Okay, so we're going to look at this. I'm going to rewrite it so it's nice and big so that there's no question. Hopefully everyone can read it. Remember that I draw my T's with the round bottom so that you know it's not a plus sign. I've got 2 times T, the negative first. First question, is 2 subject to the negative 1? And the answer is no. Just like up here, when we had the squared next to the T, it didn't touch the 2. This one also doesn't touch the 2. So the 2 is just a regular old number minding its own business. But guess what? It's right next to, dun dun dun! You got it? A secret vampire. This is a very sad T. He's up in the sunlight. Oh no, I'm melting. No, that's a witch. Oh no, I'm turning into dust. Oh, from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm doing a terrible Paul Rubens right there. Okay. So 2 times T to the negative first, the T, and I feel like I need a handy dandy. This is quite a section. I need glitter and my handy dandy highlighter. So just the T is going to be subject to this. The 2 stays on top. The T ends up in the denominator. Let's see if I can do this without totally smearing everything. There we go. Woohoo. So far, so good. While you're looking at that, one of the coolest things in the world is that Sesame Street used a vampire to be the Count. I know it was a joke on the Count, and he's a count, and so he counts. But folklore is that actually the vampires are required to literally count things. So one of the best ways to keep vampires out of your face was take a whole bag of rice and just spill it on the ground. Vampires, for whatever reason, kind of OCD, they have to count every grain. So that was what was so brilliant about having the Count be the Count. Okay, next up. Now you got trouble. If we've got 2T and they are both unhappy, they're both vampires. Everybody's a vampire in this one. 2 and T both want to end up in the denominator to the first power. But then the question is, if everybody goes downstairs, who's left upstairs? We always leave a 1. It's kind of ghost light, the numbers version, the math version of a ghost light. If everyone's left, we leave the 1 there just to hold the place. Except deliveries, you know, all those fun things. Kind of, sort of. So in this case, just the T was a vampire. In this case, both 2 and T were secret vampires. Now, the next one is going to ask you, is this 7 a vampire? If we've got 1 over 7 to the negative second or negative 2, and the answer is no. This is an unhappy 7. He's downstairs and he's really sad about it. Let's get him moved upstairs. Now, if we move him upstairs, all you need to do, you don't have to write the downstairs because he's the only one there. He's coming upstairs. They shut the door to the downstairs. Imagine they're running. I wish I had a Foley. They're running up oh, that wheels everything too much. But, running up the stairs, slam the door to the basement. So that 7 comes upstairs. Notice that when we bring it upstairs, he's happy. It's a regular person, not a vampire. Okay, next up. I'm realizing I really missed an opportunity. I could have taken my red pen and put in some blood, but I don't know that you really need math to be any more gruesome, right, than it already is. It's already kind of scary. We'll keep it kind of G-rated. Okay. Number 7 is 7 to the negative second power, 7 to the negative 2. And what does that mean? You got it. Secret vampire. The 7's upstairs, but this negative 2 means he's not happy. We need to move him. So generally speaking, we're going to try to move everything to where it wants to be. Once this guy comes down in the denominator, again, we leave that 1 upstairs just to hold the place. So take a look at these two. 1 over 7 to the negative 2 will give me 49. 7 to the negative 2 just by itself gives me 1 over 49. What do you think? Kind of woohoo? Hopefully woohoo. I'll glitter a little bit more. Ooh. Oh no, the vampire's coming to get you. And if you don't get eaten by the vampire, then we will very soon we will be doing more problems. Yum, 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 yum. I need a different photographer. I can't turn this off. Yum, yum, yum.